Bijan from Artisan Talent, and we're talking about freelance tips. You guys live and breathe freelancers. What are some sort of generic tips that you've got for freelancers?
I think a freelancer, if you do choose to go down that path, is that you really need to be flexible. You really need, there has to be that element of flexibility and go with the flow, especially if you're being sent in a new environment. Yes, you are an extremely good designer, but you may be given a project that's a little bit, I don't want to say beneath you, but it may be a little bit more basic. You really want to be open and be flexible, and if you do have that attitude and that personality, you actually will do a lot better than being just very rigid.
Okay, cool. Now you've mentioned freelance designer, but that's not the only kind of freelancer that I want to talk about today. Talk to me about some tips. Give me some freelance writing tips.
Freelance writing tips, I would say absolutely being flexible. I'd say you really have to have a good ability to, I would say, be an intuitive listener. And if you're not a good listener, you really aren't going to be able to write. You may be creative and you're just coming up with headlines, but again, being a freelancer, you really have to be in the moment and listen to what's happening so that you can really give the client back what they're looking for.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I want to come backwards again. I'm going to keep asking you these questions, try and stump you if I can. Freelance designer tips.
Well, freelance, as a designer, you're either a designer or you aren't. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who claim to be designers, and I'm not trying to set ourselves apart, but we really are looking for people that are actually talented and that we want to represent. And so as a designer, you really have to be cognizant of your abilities. I mean, really, maybe one should look at what's good design, what isn't good design, and we are a good buffer for that to give you our viewpoint as to where you can fit in a job.
I think that's actually a really good point, because if you're a freelance designer, even a freelance writer, freelance artist, freelance 3D modeler, for all I know, you're often so kind of existing in a vacuum on your own, it's very hard to kind of get a sense of where you're up to. You guys obviously run a talent agency here called Artisan, and you have literally hundreds, thousands of jobs pass through this place over the course of decades. So let me ask you this, what is, from a freelance point of view, what does the Artisan experience feel like?
I think when one comes here to register with us, we say that actually bring everything that you've done. Bring everything that you've done, not necessarily just, not your schoolwork hopefully, but anything beyond that, so that we can get a gauge as to what your range of skill is. And then we can try to narrow it down as to where you want to go specifically. But it's good for us to see what you can and cannot do, or what is it you like or you don't like. So for us, it's good to be very open and to come in and be real. It's difficult for us to place someone that is telling us one thing and then it doesn't look good to have egg on your face afterwards.
showing you something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say you do this process, you kind of sign up with an agency like Artisan. They give you that feedback and they kind of position you, they lock you in. What kind of freelance work is available?
We go across the board in terms of freelance work. We have positions that are maybe they're requiring someone that's on a production level, and then we will go all the way up to a creative director, we'll go to a copywriter, we'll go to a marketing executive, we do project managers, web designers, developers. So it really depends on what the client is looking for, and we have that talent that we can go to for those specific needs.
Okay, cool. And if you want to move out of freelance into full-time, do you have any opportunities in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. We do that. We have clients that actually like to contract to hire. Well, they will, let's say, test someone out for, it could be 30 days, 60 days, or maybe a shorter period of time, it's good for both. It's good for the client as well as the freelancer, so that they can get a gauge as to if there is a cultural fit. So we'll do that, and we do direct hire, where a client is looking to hire someone directly and we will place someone full-time.
Okay, cool. So wrapping up our freelance tips, obviously we're going to be recommending to people to join an agency like Artisan Talent. It really is a great tip because it does take so much pain out of the process. So what would be a reasonable first step for someone wanting to talk to you guys and see if it's a good fit?
First step is just to come to our website, artisantalent.com, register with us. There are social media aspects as well, where you can go on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, or send us an email. And yes, the telephone still does work, so you can do that as well.
Actual, real human interaction.
And we prefer that, because that is what we are as an agency. We are talent advocates. We want to build a personal relationship with someone. We do understand it's a digital world, but we really do feel that it is a human connection.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for your freelance tips. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.